Hello, hello. Good evening. Wow, I'm a lot closer tonight. We are shaking things up here. You guys asked for the camera to be a little bit closer. I held out for a long time. And now I've moved it closer because you guys kept asking. I've also turned up the lights a little bit more. You know, the hope was to create a relaxing, decentralized experience here focused on the callers, which is why we kind of had a darker stream. It's a night stream, you know, and it's not so much about my face as it is the caller's voice. So the camera was further away originally, but we heard some thoughts that the camera should be closer. I personally miss seeing all the things on the desk, but there are some things behind me, and it's not about the things either. So I hope everybody's okay with the small change. We're constantly tinkering here. So if you have any suggestions or thoughts, please speak up. We want to hear thoughts on how we can make this better. May not leave the camera this close, but usually streams are a lot closer than this. So we'll see what happens. Maybe we end up splitting the difference. Hope you guys have had a great week so far. A lot going on for me. But I always look forward to these streams. And I am opening the lines here. And there's not so much to announce, so we're going to jump right in. Hi there, thanks for calling.
Hey, Julian. You probably don't remember me, but I called about a month ago. I was the journalism student who fell a few short of credits to graduate. Okay.
Yeah, I think I actually do remember you. You had a conflict with, if I remember our call, you were wrestling with, you were thinking about getting out of journalism school and getting into entertainment. Was that you?
Right, that's the one.
Okay. How's it going?
Good. I'm actually doing a little bit better now. It's, bear with me, but whenever I'm depressed, I always make decisions without thinking through, and I need some time to heal. And so I'm finishing up my classes right now, my capstone, and my other class I have to retake begins online next month, and I'm starting to feel a bit more motivated in that process.
Great. Great to hear.
Like, my main goal was not to like any sort of journalism, but just to like camera work and stuff. Like, because my college had like a hockey club that I helped live stream, and I loved that.
I see. So it sounds like you're planning on sticking with the original path, and that you needed just some time to kind of sit with it and think through what you want your life to look like. Is that right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Great. Now we need more journalists. I remember that being a theme of our conversation, was that we need more. We don't need more journalists. We have more than ever. We need more good ones. And I'm glad to hear that you've decided to give a portion of your life to that. I'm going to give you a round of applause. I think that is applause-worthy. I'm not sure if you can hear that applause or not.
But actually, one of my video stories I'm doing for my capstone is actually on mental health.
Oh, great. Awesome. Very cool.
And I talked with... Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just reacting. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
I actually interviewed the lady in charge of mental health services at the university I go to. I talked to a friend who, I won't go into details, but she has had some issues, and I basically talked about, what do you have, what do you go through, and what helps you stay focused and stay on the right path despite, juggling the stuff of life, if that makes sense.
Right. That's awesome.
And basically my angle was to show that, just because we have mental health problems going on in our life, we're not like straitjacket people like we thought we were. We're just normal. It's no different than a broken arm or a diabetes or something.
Right. So what was it that made, I'm just curious, what was it that ultimately made you go back to the original plan? Because I remember we spent a long time talking about how you'd become kind of disillusioned with journalism, and there's no judgment. I'm also a person that's jumped around from thing to thing, so it's no judgment even if you had decided you wanted to get out of it. But I'm curious, what was it about journalism or you that made you decide to stick with the original plan?
I mean, well, one way or another, my assignments have to get done. They're not going to go away. And I talked to my family about it, and I could just sit still and be miserable and just let this dwell, or I can just get up, push through, get this done, and in like a month or two, I wouldn't have to worry about this ever.
Awesome. Well, good on you. You're getting love in the chat. Love hearing positive updates here. Thanks for calling and sharing. I'm glad that we could help provide a sounding board and kick some things around. I'm glad that worked out well.
No problem. Thank you, man.
Keep up the good work.
Will do. Thank you.
Take care. Sorry, chat, I did not have the phone number up. It's up now. So, gosh, I feel like this is just so close to my face, guys. This is so damn close to my face for what this is. I'm going to push back and say, I'm literally going to push back the camera next time. Just a little bit. A wee bit. This is too close. We'll keep it somewhat close on the prank calls if you want. But, yeah, I think this is too close for what this is. You guys said move it closer. Markiplier, it's like here on his live streams. It's actually kind of dangerous. Like, what if he moves too much? That guy's all over the place. All right, guys, lines are opening up again. Here we go. Hi, thanks for calling.
Oh, I really like to get through. Hello, Julian.
Hi there. It's a little noisy. Can you get closer to your phone or get to a quieter place by chance?
Yeah, let me try this. Okay. Hear me?
I can hear you. Still a little bit noisy, but better than before.
Yeah. I wanted to give your listeners and you an idea for how to get over some trauma. Because I grew up in a pretty cultish version of Christianity. And when I left it, I looked at all the spiritual options I had, and I thought it would take way too long to try and figure out which one was right. And I thought logically about it, what belief system would help me the most. And it's really kind of changed my life. Like, I took on a belief that I am everyone. And like either my subconscious is the same subconscious in everyone else, or that my soul is inhabiting each body in the reincarnation.
My friend, I'm on the verge of toasting you only because we're getting kind of ideological, and we try not to get ideological here. There's a lot of people, different worldviews here listening. If there's something you want to share about an experience, I encourage you to do that. But it sounds like you've already processed a lot of this stuff. Is there a reason for the call tonight? We try not to get ideological. I hope you can understand why we do that.
I totally understand that. I want to give an idea to those who find atheism kind of empty, because it still is. It's not a belief I hold in a rational sense. It's one that just keeps me warm and fuzzy at night.
I see. Yeah.
That, like, there's no point in jealousy or covetousness or anything like that if you will live that life. So it's better to just help others and treat them like yourself in a literal sense like I do, or just a kind of loose sense like Christians do.
Well, you reeled that in and made it pretty diplomatic. I'll give you that. Is there anything that you want to process here with us, or did you just want to share an idea? Again, we try not to get ideological.
I just want to share that. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for calling. Call back again anytime.
Thank you. Bye.
I'm not going to play the toast sound effect there because, actually, yeah, I will. That was a toast. Psych. Okay. That was a soft toast. But it sounded like the caller understood. They did do a good job of unideologicalizing it. What is the opposite of idealizing something? Okay, lines are opening again. Maybe we can take this camera and just lower it about 10 inches so that it's pointing straight up my nose or something. That'd make it even more personal. Goodness gracious. Guys, I'm sorry, having trouble getting the lines back on. Okay, here we go. Hi, thanks for calling.
Hello.
Hello. Thanks for calling.
Hi. Yeah, thanks for picking up. How's it going?
I'm well tonight. What's on your mind?
That's good. I don't know, a few things. I guess part of what's on my mind is just kind of a heightened sense of anxiety that I've been feeling lately.
Can we start with your age? How old are you?
Oh yeah, I'm 24.
Okay. And you're dealing with some anxiety. Didn't mean to derail you. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, you're fine. It's gotten better lately now. But I've been doing a good bit of self-reflecting, and over, I guess, most of the pandemic, I did finish out college, which is good, but in that process kind of fell into a bit of a cycle of just like really looking at the news and like what everybody has to say about just everything, and then just being like, oh well, this just is terrible, and just smoking a bunch of weed for like a long amount of time, I think. And I suppose I'm towards the end of about a 2-week vacation out of town with my family, and that became, I guess, kind of a bit of an evidence, or I don't know if that's the right word, a bit of a point to be like, okay, well, can't really bring weed there, and I probably should chill out with it. And so it's been a much longer amount of time without it, and I think that might be part of why I'm more anxious now.
Yeah, you could have some withdrawals
so
or something.
Maybe. Hold on. I might I'm gonna switch put an AirPod in. Alright, hello?
I'm here.
Okay, so I'm just making sure my audio is not getting bad. But yeah, 'cause I don't know, and I almost kind of feel like weed gets a little like infantilized as a drug compared to other things, because it's like there aren't really physical symptoms, which is good, but the mental ones, I guess it varies from person to person, but like it can be kind of a lot, and like it hit a bit of an existential wave for a bit, and still kind of is, but it seems like I'm at least on an upward swing.
Okay. Well, yeah, you're dealing with, it sounds like you already were dealing with the anxiety, and then you turned to the weed to kind of curb some of that. And then when you realized you were doing too much of the weed, sounds like you cut it out pretty hard, and then the anxiety came back with a vengeance. Am I understanding that right?
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
So I'm going to say something that helped me when I was at a similar place in life, actually right around your same age. I was in my mid-20s, and I was coming off of a lot of weed use. And one thing that my nutritionist told me to get that helped me wasn't a prescription. She's a nutritionist, but she told me that my GABA in my body, my GABA had been really depleted by the cannabis because I had done so much of it, and that might be something you can look into because GABA does stress your GABA in your body. So it's something your body naturally makes the GABA, but you can take supplements for that. It might help you recover mentally. It might help your mental health recover a little quicker and get rid of some of the anxiety because your GABA it's one of your neurotransmitters and it kind of stabilizes your mood. And so if there's not enough left because you've depleted all of it from cannabis, then it takes a long time for your body to restore that. And I'm not a nutritionist. This is just something I paid a nutritionist a lot of money to learn, and it helped me tremendously. So you might save some money on a nutritionist. You could probably skip the nutritionist and go straight to looking at some, you could absolutely still go to a nutritionist because there very well be maybe other things going on. I don't know you, to be clear, and you should definitely
Right.
I'm not telling you to go eat stuff. But I'm just letting you know that was really helpful for me, and you might look into that. And you may, it's the point about the nutritionist is that GABA is something your body makes already. And when you eat it as a supplement, it gives it to your body. It just gives it to it's like you're eating the stuff your body already makes. So you might do some reading on that. And GABA might help you get back to some homeostasis.
Okay, this is GABA, I think?
That's right.
Okay, well, that's good. I think that might be helpful. I'm like, at this point, yeah, because I think I'm nearly 3 weeks off entirely. And so, like,
good.
I guess in my mind, because I did some reading, and it's like, it sounds like after about a month or so, depending on how much is in you, it's like, okay, at that point, about a month is where it tends to be like fully out of your system.
Right.
And yeah, so I guess it's kind of been a bit of like hitting that mark a bit.
So how was it? Was it hard getting to the 3 week mark? How was that for you?
It was, dude. Oh man, it was crazy because like I knew that the trip was happening. And so I wanted to at least like curb the worst of it earlier, like before I'm like spending just like all of my time with my family nonstop. And so I stopped like a few days before we went. And I'm very glad I did because I was hitting like the first day off for a sec. It's like I was getting entirely like full body shakes, like, and like when that happens, it's like I can tell myself that it's all in my head as much as I want, right? But it's like your body can't really tell the difference. It just like knows what it's feeling. And I kind of like this was something I hadn't done in a while. I usually would only do it when I was like at my most stressed, I guess. But there was like this breathing technique that this dude, I think his name was like Wim Hof or something.
Oh yeah, I love Wim Hof.
It like, yeah, I did that thing where like you like breathe in kind of quicker, over oxygenate yourself, and like hold your breath for a while, and then do a couple rounds of that, and the breath hold gets longer.
Right.
And I just like I kept breathing through it, and like eventually like the shakes like went away. Like I didn't like die or anything. It just was little. I just kind of shook around in bed for a bit, and kind of it went away, and like that tightness was still kind of there residually, but like with some more time that went away. And like on the other side of like all of that was like I just was like just like tears of euphoria. It was like it was crazy. I was like dead sober, and like that kind of had continued then on the next couple days. The shakes were like a little less severe, but it became almost like a process.
Right.
just kind of like getting through that, and almost like it felt kind of like it felt weirdly like I was like almost like getting out of like an illusion. I feel like there's a better word, but like it felt like I was like in kind of like unconsciously and almost like a fake reality before, like, as the shake is coming, and before it, it's like as I wake up that day, it's like before I would like get in like just the breathing and not like kind of allowing myself to be distracted from my thoughts with like just doing something, just like sitting with it.
Right.
I would it's like once I was on the other side of that, I was like, oh wow, shit, like now I'm like here, you know? It was like I've heard a bit of like, I don't know what depersonalizing is, but I remember like the whole Bo Burnham special thing, that was like a theme, and I don't think I'm doing that, but this felt like the opposite of that. It felt like I was like more properly like existing. I don't know. It's kind of hard to put into words.
Yeah. I do want to add, just for everyone's safety that's listening to us talk about Wim Hof, please don't just try breathing rapidly on your own. Please go look at how Wim Hof does it, and don't just start practicing right here and now. We don't want anyone to pass out. There's a technique involved. But yeah, I do love Wim Hof.
That guy does some crazy stuff.
That guy's bonkers, in the best way possible. Love that guy. Well,
Right.
thanks for sharing about your experience. In some ways, I feel like you needed to process some things, but I also want to applaud you for being sober from the cannabis for 3 weeks. It sounded like it was a really hard thing for you. So here we go.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And best of luck to you as you continue recovering. I hope you find some good news with the GABA. It certainly helped me. I know I'm not alone. I was certainly not the first person to discover GABA. It's been helpful for a lot of people. In fact, my nutritionist was telling me that a relative of hers is a farmer of cannabis, and so she like prescribed it to him. And he's given it. He's recommended it to a bunch of people apparently. So it's a great thing to know about, especially if you're detoxing from some cannabis. I hope that helps you.
That's good. Yeah, thank you a lot for that. That might do wonders.
Great. Is there anything else you want to get off your chest or talk about while we're here?
No, I don't think so. There's some other like personal stuff, but I've like that much I think has been kind of like worked through with like the people that I need to work through it with, which is good. And honestly, resolving that is not resolving it, but kind of at least addressing it and like sitting with it has done a lot to kind of, I think, calm me down generally, which
Great.
is good.
Excellent. Well,
And it's yeah.
Well, you sound really strong. You sound like you have a strong will, and I'm glad to hear about the progress you've already made. I think that you might be the first. That might be the first time we've applauded someone on a first call. That was awesome to hear the motivation you've got. So thanks for sharing.
Nice, thank you. And while I do have a sec, I want to say thank you for those videos. To this day, all of my friends will recognize a Malk reference. Like you've made, you're inspiring, dude. I love the stuff you do.
I appreciate that. You're very kind. Thanks for the support, and take care of yourself.
Yeah, you too.
Good night. That reminds me. There's a picture somewhere on my computer that I'll show sometime somewhere. Somebody carved "Got Malk" into a sidewalk. I guess it was in some wet cement, and somebody sent me a picture of this. And I don't think I've posted it anywhere ever. In fact, I know I haven't. But I will show that somewhere here sometime, because it cracked me up. It's like really big. in this sidewalk. It's not a little thing. Cracks me up. Okay, phone lines are opening. Hi, thanks for calling. Hello?
Hello.
Hi. Thanks for calling.
Oh, let me. I had to turn off the YouTube video.
No problem.
Holy crap! I was not expecting you to answer that quickly. Shoot, I'm on speakerphone.
Take a second, collect your thoughts if you need to.
Say what?
You can take a second and collect your thoughts if you want.
Yeah. So. Wow. Hold on. I'm being approached by someone. Hi.
Sounds intense. We're waiting on the caller.
I'm so sorry.
Everything okay?
I have no idea whose that is. Yeah.
So, are you in a safe place?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maggie over there? Maggie.
Toast. My friend, you said a name. That's toast count 2. My friend, we toasted you because you said a name. And we give you anonymity here. So please, no, call back. Feel free. That's not to discourage you from calling back again. Call back again anytime and omit the names and locations, and we'll have a conversation. Lines are opening again. Hi, thanks for calling.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm well. How are you tonight?
I'm doing okay.
What's on your mind?
I was calling. Hold on a second. Let me start the stream.
Yeah, if you could turn your speakers off. We're getting some feedback.
Okay. No, I was calling because last week my friend of 7 years, he ended his life, and his funeral's on Thursday, and I've just been having a hard time, with facing that.
I'm so sorry to hear about that. How
Yeah.
old are you? How old was your friend?
I'm 24 and he was 33.
My goodness. I'm so sorry for your loss.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And it's just been a weird time because he was talking to me beforehand about wanting to, and then that night I try to contact people who might know, because I knew he moved, so I didn't know where he lived, and then he was surrounded by a lot of friends and stuff for the weeks after that, and then it happened, and so I've just been trying to process it, but I'm just still been working because it's too much for me to be home, but this whole thing, it coming up on Thursday, and I find out it's an open casket. It's just been really scaring me, I guess.
You're nervous to see your friend in the casket, it sounds like.
Yeah, I don't know if I should even go look, or if that's part of it. I don't know how to grieve something like that.
Do you want to share with us what your friend meant to you? You want to tell us about your friend?
I mean, we were friends for like 7 years, so like he's just like, it's hard to come by people like that stick around. And just like it's somebody like who was really funny, and we just had so many memories and stuff. And like my birthday passed recently, so I'm like thankful because he was there, and a lot more people got to meet him at my party, and I was at his party and stuff. So it's like he was very full of life, so I'm scared of seeing him like not full of life anymore.
Are you considering not going to the funeral because it's an open casket, or are you considering just not going to look inside the casket?
I feel like if I don't go, I'll regret it, but I'm just like, then it's like that was a big decision in itself, but now it's like I feel like I don't know if I'm gonna feel guilty if I don't go in there, but I don't know if it's like if that's like something I want to remember him by, like that, or like remember him like the last time I saw him, like when he was alive. But like I'm so young that like I have fortunately not lost a lot of people like my age, so I don't know what the incorrect or correct way of like going about grieving or whatever, doing something like that.
Right. Chat, if any of you have had experiences relevant to this, this is a great time to share. I'll be looking in the chat for some thoughts. I can say while we're waiting on that to the caller that, funerals are how we say goodbye to people. And I would imagine that there might be some benefit for you going to the funeral and just saying goodbye. Not that you have to go look at the casket. If that might be too traumatizing for you to see your friend in that way, then you don't have to go to the casket. But it might be helpful for you to go, even if you sit in the back and don't stay the whole time. It might also be good to see other people there that are mutual friends, to grieve with them together and to see the loss that other people are experiencing too. That might be cathartic and might help you find some closure to that story with your friend. That's a horrible way to lose someone, especially someone that's so close to you. You mentioned you were dear friends for 7 years. I'm really sorry for your loss. That's very sad to hear about. But I would encourage you to go to the funeral, to just say, even if you sit in the back, just to say goodbye. Might also, I don't know if you have it in you, but it might be nice to share some things. I don't know how the eulogy will be set up, or if it'll be by the casket, if you would be forced to see inside the casket if you eulogized your friend, but it might be nice for you to, and maybe not, maybe you're too worked up to eulogize, but these are why we do funerals, to say goodbye and to create a memory for the person and to highlight the things that people loved about them. And any one of these things on their own might be good for you, but you don't have to do everything. You don't have to go up to the casket if you don't want to. You don't have to eulogize if you don't want to. I hope it makes sense what I'm saying.
I appreciate it. Like I got the day off. Like it took me a while to ask for the day off work because it's like I didn't want to say like I don't want to accept it, and like I think like going is like I'm gonna go, and it's like that's where you get the closure, but like it's also where you have to face like it's like really like you can't deny that like they're really gone. Like, so it's like really like hard for me because it's like I mean like no matter what, everybody you know, like everyone will die one day, you know, or so it's like with like I would like sorry, I'm like this is like I have the opportunity to like love him like so much, you know, and I'm thankful for that, and I wouldn't trade that for anything because like no matter what, we'll lose everybody one day, so it's like, but it still makes it so much harder to like say goodbye because of like, you know, like the memories and like the love I had for him. Like he was like a brother to me. So
Right. It was so surprising. That's what I'm hearing you say, is that it was you lost him in a surprising way. You weren't expecting it. I mean, it sounds like you had some idea he was dealing with the ideation of it, but you know, that's never an easy way to lose someone. I want to highlight something from the chat. This comes from Ilot Kaber, I think is how I say it. I'm sorry, guys. The chat's a little further away from my face tonight, so I'm having a hard time reading that name. But they say to you, I don't think you should feel any guilt over not looking. They mean in the casket. When my grandpa died of COVID, it wrecked me to see him in there. But it did help me to say goodbye. I think it could help you to find closure. I agree with that sentiment. And I again, like that's part of what I hear you saying is that you've never lost someone your age, and that you're contemplating partly an inquiry about what's the benefit of going to the funeral. And funerals are the only way we get to say goodbye with other people that knew the person who passed. And it sounds like the chat, and there's other thoughts in the chat encouraging you to go. I've highlighted one, and no one here is saying don't go. Of course, you don't have to do anything. You don't. No one here is going to twist your arm into doing anything, and nor could we. But you know, funerals are beautiful because, like you said, everyone does die eventually, and funerals are how we say goodbye.
yeah, I'm definitely gonna go. It was just more so like when I came to the decision, and then I found out it was an open casket. It just that part like just it just made everything a little bit harder for me to like
Right.
to deal with, because it's like, because I know there's obviously a benefit because that's people do that for closure, but I've never really experienced that, so it's like I don't know if it benefits everybody or if it could end up traumatizing me. Like, so it's just, I didn't know if it was something that, like, you know, other people have experienced.
Yeah. Well, you've experienced a very abrupt way to lose a friend. And there's other, you know, it's not the only abrupt way to lose a friend, of course, but, you know, it's a very complicated one. KO from the chat suggests making a collage to celebrate your friend's life, something to remember him by. That might also be a beautiful thing for you to do. If they were someone special to you, you know, something that celebrates who they were, what they valued. You know, I'm just trying to highlight things that might help you find that closure, because again, you lost your friend so abruptly.
Yeah, he like one of our last conversations, he's saying like, you know, he's very selfless, and this is the one time he wants to be selfish because he's like, he just didn't want to like deal with life anymore or whatever, and like and like he doesn't want anyone to be mad at him, and that he, you know what I mean, like he didn't like want to hurt anybody and like whatever, and then like part of me just feels selfish for wishing he was here still because he's in so much pain, but then like at the same time, like it's like that's not like, I find a little bit of peace knowing like he doesn't feel tormented anymore, even though like I feel like obviously there's other options and better ways to deal with it than that.
Right. That's a confusing way to lose someone, and all of these thoughts are natural. I think it's healthy that you seem to have a very healthy picture of what's happening. It sounds like you really deeply cared about this person. You said that you're happy they weren't living in torment anymore. Of course, that doesn't mean we can't miss these people and that we can't celebrate who they were and what their life meant. It's never pleasant to lose someone, and it's definitely not pleasant to lose them in that way. So I'm really sorry for your loss, and I'm wishing you the best, and the chat's wishing you the best in finding this closure. I hope you find it at the funeral. Of course, it won't end there. You'll still be saying goodbye after that, but a funeral is a great way to kind of punctuate it, you know. And I'm really sorry for your loss.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Is there anything else you want to share on that point,
No.
or anything else at all?
No, I think that was it. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks for calling. Take care of yourself. Good night.
Have a good night.
Wow. That one had me on the verge of tears. All right, guys, lines are opening. I'm still seeing people mentioning how close the camera is. You guys asked for it to be closer, so I moved it closer, but it's way too close. It's not as close as a lot of YouTube streams, but I agree it's too close. I'm not going to move it in the middle of the stream. Next time, we'll split the difference. Also, I'm waiting on lines to open still. It takes a second sometimes while we're waiting. I am having a hard time reading the names of the chat. I've got the chat above the camera tonight because the camera setup's different, and I'm trying to get things off my computer monitor. So I am having trouble reading some of the names, but I'm able to see what the messages say. Hope I don't mess anyone's name up. I'm trying to give credit where it's due. I'm going to reboot this phone system. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm sorry. Okay, back up. Hi, thanks for calling.
Hi there.
Hello, what's on your mind?
I got a lot on my mind, man. First of all, I've always been a fan of yours, but I saw this going on, and I've had maybe the worst 2 or 3 years of my life, or I don't know, anybody I know's life. It's been rough.
How old are you? Can we start with your age?
35.
35. And you've had a rough few years, you say. That's an intense opening statement. Where do you want to begin?
I guess I'll give you the Spark Notes version. I know 2020 was rough for everybody, but at the time, I'll set the stage. I was, happily married, sold our house, and the day the COVID lockdowns hit, I signed the mortgage on my new house and moved in, got everything set up. Everything seemed fine, and I woke up 2 days later, and my wife just took off, drained every bank account I had. Left me sitting there. So.
Oh my goodness.
And then to top it all off, half a year goes by, almost a year actually, and I'm the one who decides it's time to pull the trigger and get a divorce. And now she refuses to sign paperwork or give me a livable address, so we can't even serve her with papers, so I can't even move on with my life. So just like in this odd form of perpetual purgatory.
My gosh. So your wife left, drained your bank accounts. I mean, that's you skipped over a lot there. I know you said that was the spark notes. But I'm wondering a lot, like, what was there a sign that the marriage was ending, or was everything peachy keen? I mean, you guys were moving, so
No.
Sounds like.
No, we've been great. I mean, I've been with her 15 years. You know, we met in college. We met the day we met. We never, like, we spent every day together, from the day we met until the day she left. I genuinely, like, it came out of nowhere. It's been like the hard part. Like, I tried doing therapy, but every time I talk to a therapist, they're like, well, you had to have had signs and you had to have done this. And I'm like, no. I was like, this would be so much easier if I had done something, or if I was an abusive person, like, I could accept it then. Like, at least then I could fall back on, like, maybe I'm a terrible person. But, like, I've done a lot of soul searching over, like, 2 or 3 years, and I can't find the answers. And now I'm trying to get back out there, and, you know, that's terrifying, because here I am still with no answers from that. So I don't know, is it me? Is it, like, I don't know. A lot of times you're going to answer questions. And maybe just talking about it helps sometimes. That's probably what I called.
Yeah. Do you have kids?
No kids. She was unable to have children.
Okay. So the hang up is purely just that she is refusing a divorce.
Yeah.
And she left
she's
you.
The one who left.
That's pretty intense.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't know how to move on from that.
Does she want to?
Maybe it was just willing to call and talk. I don't know.
Right. Does she want to get back together, or like she's?
Yeah, I don't know what she wants. It's one of those things, you know, as an adult, you don't try to look at it in a way that it's not. But, you know, she went out, and from what I can tell, she just, like she said, she drained my entire life savings, and now she's wanting to get back together. But it seems like it's pinned with an undertone of she went out and she spent my entire life savings over the last 3 years, and now she's penniless, and she wants me to be a support system for some reason. So
right.
Yeah. And so by refusing to divorce me, that means she's still attached to me financially, and like I said, we can't even give the lawyer can't serve her papers because we can't get an answer of where she lives or where she stays. Nothing.
Well, this sounds like, you know, that you were abandoned and betrayed,
mm-hmm.
and it sounds like classic kind of prodigal son kind of story where someone took your money, and then when the money was gone, they came back and asked for things to go back to normal, and you're sitting there with a real conundrum thinking, well, you just blew up our life. You mentioned you've done a lot of soul searching. Is your... I'm struggling knowing what you'd like me to call her. Would you like me to call her your former wife, or your...
Just call her my ex. That's what I call her.
Okay.
I've called her worse things, but I try not to say those in public.
Very respectable. Your ex, is she the kind of person that, do you have reason to believe she's been soul searching? Is she the kind of person that can acknowledge fault? Is she the kind of person that can apologize? Is she the kind of thing that can she own things can she own mistakes she's made?
I would have said that, like, especially in our earlier years, like I said, we were together for like 15 years, but
right.
Like, it's almost like a switch went off at 30. She became very, like, nihilistic, like I didn't ask to be born, and got really just, it's like a light switch went off as a different person. So I don't know what it is, because it's the oddest thing. Like, she'll text me, or she'll send me things like nothing ever happened. Like, she'll send me a meme, and I'll just be like, and I haven't responded to her text in probably 12 to 18 months, but she texts daily or every 2 days or 3 days with just like like nothing ever happened. It's the like strangest thing to just be vacuumed into. Like every part of me just wants like it to be over, I guess. I don't know. So
have you heard of this book, Should I Stay or Should I Go, by Dr. Ramani Diversala?
I have not.
And it sounds like you're already over your ex. I mean, you're calling her your ex, but I mean, your wife did some pretty, she made some pretty bold decisions, and it sounds like she's not owning that. It sounds like she's being very dismissive, leads me to question if she's mentally well. You mentioned she kind of turned a corner in the last few years of your marriage, or last several years of your marriage, where she became really nihilistic, and you saw a side of her you'd never known before. You haven't answered the question if she is capable of empathy, or owning mistakes, or correcting errors. I mean, everyone makes errors, and it's I'm getting at, like, could she be a psychopath only to the extent that it would be helpful for you in future relationships? I don't sense that you want to stay with her, so the book I'm suggesting you read is not about, like, it's called Should I Stay or Should I Go, but it might help you determine if you were in an unhealthy relationship, and if you were, it would be it could be very helpful to read it, just to make sure you don't fall in that same trap again. It's a book I've read. It's a book a number of people here in the community have read. It's helpful for all kinds of things, not just for romantic relationships. It can be helpful for if you're dealing with a psychopath who's a parent, for example. That's the main way it helped me in my life. So it's very much branded as a book about marriage or relationships with a psychopath, like romantic relationships, but it's kind of a life-changing book. If I put this in the chat for you, will you look it up and check it out?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm up for anything. Like you said, I've talked to a lot of people, but every time I'm just kind of left spinning. So if anything, I will absolutely take a look. Yeah,
that's why just to be clear, that's everything you've said is why I'm recommending this. It sounds like you're describing a narcissist or maybe something more intense even. I mean,
everyone I've talked to has said, a lot of that sounds like late stage, like bipolarism or manic behavior. They're like, it's just, so yeah, that's what I've heard a lot of.
Yeah. I'm putting this Goodreads link for you in the chat. This is Should I Stay? I apologize if there's typos, guys. Going fast. There's a Goodreads link for you in the chat. If you go revisit this part of the call, you'll find the link. Amazing book. There's an audio book, pretty good audio book. If you'd rather listen to it, it is a good book to listen to. It's a lot of books I prefer to read just for retention, but it is the kind of book you can listen to if you can't actually read it. Man, I'm really sorry to hear about your story. That is rough. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'll be honest. Like, it's one of those things at 35. I had life figured out. I thought, I had savings and I had, all this stuff. I had a house, and I was like, okay, I'm doing like the adult thing. And now with everything she did financially, there's a lot that I haven't mentioned. Like, for example, she went into a bank that allowed her to co-sign my name to a home equity line of credit on a house I never owned, that I'm on the hook for $50,000. So I live in a basement now, one of my parents, and
my gosh,
rebuilding my life.
I'm so sorry to hear that. Can you get a lawyer? Can you afford a lawyer?
My family, and as much as I hate it, because I'm just kind of, I don't know, I was, I left my house at 18, I just took off, like some people do, and I was just very independent. So, my sister, she's a physician, so she actually has means to help me. So she actually is helping me with an attorney. Otherwise, she's wiped me out to the point where I probably couldn't have afforded any kind of counsel whatsoever.
Right.
But luckily I've got my family, at least, who's helping me, and I'm lucky enough to have them. So, it could always be worse, right? Silver linings.
I'm really glad that you have an attorney. Maybe they can help you get out of that HELOC. Maybe they can help you settle your divorce. I don't. Only you know the situation, and we only know what you're sharing, of course. But lawyers can be. These are what lawyers are for, of course. I'm really glad to hear you have one. Man.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Yeah, it's tough. I appreciate you just letting me, or being here to let me call and talk. Like I said, it's the only thing that kind of makes me feel a little bit sane in this world is just being able to like talk out loud.
Right.
So I appreciate you being here for that.
I appreciate that, and I'm grateful every time someone calls and uses this place like you have. You've got a lot you're processing. I've taken some notes, but I can imagine that there's so much more that you probably can't get to. Even if we went till 4 a.m, you'd probably still be talking and sharing. This is why we do this. Specifically, I've gotten into this because of a lot of things I've gone through, specifically with things like close relationships with narcissists and stuff. So it's kind of I hope you understand that I'm not trying to diagnose anyone. I can't diagnose anyone, but I hope you understand the relevance of reading a book like that. I'm trying to make suggestions about things that, someone recommended that book to me, and if they hadn't recommended it to me, I probably wouldn't have found it. So it's kind of this place here is kind of a paying it forward kind of thing, and I hope that you find some peace and some resolve with your situation. Please call back and share more if you want to keep talking. We can keep talking. We're not in any hurry here. We can keep going if you want.
I'll read the book. I actually just added it to my Audible reading list. So
okay, great.
It'll be my next listen. So.
Beautiful. And
maybe I'll call back after I listen to it. Okay.
Yeah, I'm wishing you the best in finding some closure here, and moving on. And you mentioned you feel you had life figured out, and then now you're starting from square one again. And life has a way of doing that to us. Of course, you're going through an extreme case of it, but I say that to encourage you that you're certainly not alone. There's a lot of people here who've gone through that, and I've never gone through that kind of betrayal, to be clear, but I have had friends who've had the exact same thing happen. This happens. People get mentally unwell and they do crazy things. They betray partners. My friend had 2 kids involved, lost all his money, same situation. I'm sure it's not the same situation, and I hope you don't think I'm trying to belittle your experience. I'm trying to mention things that might help you feel less alone, and that your story doesn't sound it doesn't sound impossible, and I know it's going to take a lot to pull it together, but I hope that's encouraging to you. If it's encouraging to know that a friend of mine went through a very similar thing, wife left, drained his bank account, and now he didn't know what he was going to do at the time. Now he's doing amazing. It's taken some time, and I hope that you can find your feet. I'm really glad that you've got a sister that's going to be able to help you get a lawyer. That's going to be huge, I feel. I think you're on a really good path, and I'm trying to encourage you.
I appreciate that, Julian. I really appreciate you being here. Like I said, some days it just feels good to talk, even sometimes when no one's listening, but nice to have someone listen. So I really appreciate you, and I'll let you get on to the next caller.
All right, call again anytime. Take care.
Thank you.
Hi, thanks for calling.
All right, call again anytime. Take care.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi. What you want to talk about?
How goes this gentleman? Are you good, Julian? I've spent a little bit of time watching in the dark.
Okay.
How are you doing?
I'm well.
Good.
What do you want to share about?
There is this test that I took at berkeley.edu. It was called an empathy test, and I'm not sure I want to have another conversation with you. No offense, until you go on there and take the Berkeley, whatever that test was for the empathy test at berkeley.edu. The top score is 110, and I ended up scoring 106. I have led more lives than a lot of people that I know. I've felt such anguish, and I'll stop myself there. You don't need to take that test before we talk, but I do want some clarity because you seem like you're wise. For 12 years of my life, I worked with adults with developmental disabilities. I spent a lot of my days protecting my fellow coworker women. I am a skinny dude. I'm 6'2", not a lot of mass, and I battled people with these mental disabilities for a long time, and I got beat on. Never got hurt. How do I tell myself that I'm good enough for my future that I already sacrificed 12 years of my life for? And what kind of expectations should I have?
So you've mentioned a bunch of things. I'm trying to see the train of thought.
Sorry,
Sounds
you
like
and I kind of think the same. We bounce.
I do bounce. Is it that you're
I bounce all the time.
trying to reconcile some past life decisions with future ones?
I'm trying to figure out whether or not, like worth is a thing that I should harp on. I did 12 years of something that is worth more than money can ever buy. What's the future worth? How much can I take that step?
So is it some kind of cognitive dissonance, or is it I'm admittedly thrown by, I'm trying to reconcile all the thoughts. You started with empathy. Sounds like you've worked in a line of work where you can can you tell me about what you do?
I used to do that. Almost turning 40. So now I did that for 12 years.
What was that specifically?
And I also, what did I do specifically with people with disabilities?
Mm-hmm.
The range came from someone who was immobile in a wheelchair, they couldn't talk, all the way to someone that was mobile and big, it can hurt me. There was like no in between of like the level of attention that someone needed. To speak about that Berkeley test, I'm sorry I came on hot like that but I've been trying to think about that less, but I think about it more. I took that test and I scored 106 out of 110 on empathy. Everything around me affects me deeply. But yeah, I dealt with people that couldn't even go to the restroom by themselves to people that could and then chose not to or wanted to beat on the staff that was employed.
I see. So are you, you mentioned you're no longer doing this work, and are you dealing with some...
They decided to privatize, and I got mouthy and got forced to resign. I had to get out.
So are you trying to find are you trying to turn over a new leaf? Are you trying to start something new, and you're struggling, thinking you might not find anything as rewarding as the old work or something like that?
No, the end game isn't immediate. I was talking about it's really weird that I did something for society, like it was really good for the future of everybody involved. Like I made these people's lives this much better that didn't even have a chance to even come up and hold a job per se, where I could help them hold a job.
Right.
I helped someone's future for 12 years. I helped a bunch of people's futures. It upsets me that no one can really realize the sacrifice that I've made for society.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, even I watch you. I'm watching you work through this. Call me now. Call live. It's a beautiful fucking flower that is blooming. Like, we both don't know what this is going to be. I remember Julian Smith from, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago, his old videos, and now you're making an attempt to touch other people. And I was touched, and I was like, yeah, you know what? Let's have this conversation. It may go longer than we need, but I was still thinking that, like, 12 years of my life I sacrificed for society, and here we are now. And what does that mean for the future of my now life? I sacrificed. I felt like here you go. I gave you, a third of my life. What next?
Sounds like you feel like your contributions weren't recognized, or that you got scolded for standing up for what you felt was right.
It is far deeper and beyond that, because what I dealt with was so gross, and like the
Right.
government and how they give these certain entities money to function, and then watch how the people on top that have control of the money like manipulate it to where, I'm kind of between that conundrum of, like, I am generally happy, but it's really hard for me to be happy knowing that I left these people behind that I cared for 12 years. And now, within the last 3 weeks, I found out that 4 of my favorite clients, passed away. And I randomly found one of the clients that I absolutely love on TikTok, and I had to watch a TikTok video about how he had passed away, and he was young. And I'm watching all these people pass away when they're young. So how do you view, how old are you, Mr. Julian?
I'm 35.
Nice. How many lives have you lived, do you think?
You mean
No, serious question. Me
metaphysically?
personally, I feel like I've lived 4 lives.
You mean
I've
practically,
only
or
survived one of them.
you mean practically or spiritually or something? Or practically,
No, in general.
Practically,
like,
I've lived more lives than I can probably count quickly. Can't even count how
I would say
I can't even count how many times I've been a YouTuber. That was the best joke on this channel.
No, I got it. How many times can you YouTube yourself?
Taking
I
so many
think
breaks.
you and I are probably on the same level. I've lived 4 different lives of just like testing whether or not I want to be a part of life. And 2 of them were dark. 2 of them were, let's do this.
Right.
I mean, what was the point of your? I'm not digging or anything. I think this is a pretty well balanced conversation. But when you started taking live calls, what was the end game? Like, I'm loving this now. The end game was making the other person love themselves, and I'm stoked. What do you feel like? Not end game, but current game of these phone calls could. I mean, it takes me back to 2 weeks ago when I found out that one of my best friends took his own life, and I was a phone call away, and he was the happiest person I had known. Okay, getting back to, why did you start letting people call you?
I've got a whole video describing that. We're in this call now. You've called in for a reason.
Okay. Sorry.
No, it's okay. No, there's no offense. No offense taken. It's a valid question.
No, that was an abrupt stop. That's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah. The if you go back to before episode 1, there's a video. I think I made it right here, talking about I'm starting this new stream, and I get into all that. But you're sharing about some stuff. I don't want to get off topic or off track. I'm still, the chat and I are still trying to understand. Are you dealing with some anger over the way you were treated for the work that you did? I hear your heart. You did a lot of selfless work. You were you're such an empath that you were doing sacrificial labor. You mentioned often gross labor, caring for people with disabilities, and it sounds like that came from a real place of empathy for you. You mentioned you've scored really highly on the Berkeley empathy quotient, or whatever the test, whatever they call that. And I'm wondering, and the chat is also wondering, is it just that you've lost so much all at once? You also mentioned some friends have died, and maybe you're trying to figure out what you're dealing with, but it sounds like you're dealing with something.
Hello, chat. Kidding. It's a bizarre feeling, man. Like, I've done so much very quickly in my life. I've been all over the place, and I feel like I'm not on the YouTube and all that stuff that it's out there, but it's out there within the ether of all of our survival. And I thought that I was doing something good for people, and then found out that, like, it's really hard for people to recognize that I was sacrificing for the betterment of. I've been to not more than 50 funerals. I'm sick of people dying, but at the same time, the worst part about the word life is death. And what I'm really struggling with is, like, why would, I'm not even going to get into a religious thing. I mean, I've done so much good in my time on Earth. I'm not looking to get paid back. Don't get me wrong there. I'm not looking to get paid back. I'm just looking as, like, why should I even invest my time? And I do it every week. Every week I invest my time for the betterment of others, and all I get is a pile of shit, because people are unpredictable and they're not really reliable unless you find the right ones.
Right.
So where does that put me mentally? I'm still trying to figure, because I'm about to turn 40 years old. My dad died when he was 36. My mother and my father split up. I found out last. My brother and my sister, my siblings, went with my mom. No one went with dad. I went with dad. He was there I was with him for like 3 to 6 months, and he drank himself to death and died of a heart attack on a fucking toilet at the end of that. And then I had to watch my mother's family and my father's family, like, split up his shit and dig through shit. And there's a lot of deeper shit involved in that, and that made me start thinking, hey, let's just give life to others. And I've been doing it for so long, but I'm trying to figure out, like, financially, I'm in the best spot I've ever been. Emotionally, I am still looking for, like, where I should give that. I need to give more.
Right. And it
I
sounds
just want others to not live. I want them to live.
Right. Okay. I hear where you're going. Yeah. So you've got some societal angst, maybe some frustration with what this world celebrates and cares about.
Yeah. Good point.
And you've got some lack of direction for your next steps in this new chapter of your life, it sounds like.
Yeah. Who deserves it? I guess a homeless shelter, but you're perpetuating the problem at that point.
Well, this isn't a career advice show. I can't give you career advice. I mean, I could, but I don't want to mess up your life.
I love my job. I water plants, man. I take care of plants.
Okay.
It's so easy and lovely.
Yeah. Okay.
But other than that, are you familiar with the sport of disc golf?
Mm-hmm.
I run doubles here on Sunday locally, and everybody's happy. We had 33 people last week come play, and 3 women, which is the most in the upstate of South Carolina, and it's spectacular.
Oh, my friend, you just said where you live. I'm gonna have to toast you. Boy.
I moved here from Ohio. I originally lived in Ohio.
My friend. Oh, gosh. Okay, I'm gonna toast you, but I'm gonna say one more thing because I sense you're looking for something, and I don't want to leave you hanging. I'm gonna toast you. Please call back again, and we can have as long of a conversation as you want. I'm gonna end it here.
Why am I getting toasted?
Because you just gave up where you live.
I don't understand that term.
It means I'm gonna hang up on you because you said where you live, and this is anonymous.
I said upstate of a country/state.
Right.
It's pretty vague. It's pretty vague. There's a lot of downstate South Carolina.
I hear you. This is for your own good in case you don't want this to be out later. And
it can go wherever it goes, man. All my friends know. But they don't know. And I think why I called in is because I sat back and listened to you like articulate and roll through some pretty serious shit. Like I'm calling in with like, futurisms, and all these other people are like in the now. And I respect you enough to give you a call. And I was just trying to figure out, and I think we're both going through the same journey of like, what do we want to do now that we have lived long enough to be here. And financially, I never thought I would be in a spot to where I'd be like, hey, let's see where this goes. I've never had this much money in my life. I can't think of what to buy. But I know my time on earth is based on how much I've helped people that don't have anything.
The chat doesn't want me to toast you. I don't want to toast you.
No, man. I give a shit who wants to toast anybody. I'm just glad that I got to talk to you, man. Your voice is soothing. Your cadence is on top of it.
Look,
you're not hurting anybody by doing what you're doing, and you could. And I every time you talk, I can sense like, okay, he stopped himself because it could be detrimental to this conversation. I love it. I love all of it, man. That's why I called.
I appreciate that. We try really hard to create a safe place here. Usually the camera's a little bit further from the desk. The chat's been telling me to move it a little closer, and now it's very close. I'm gonna make an exception. I'm not gonna toast you, and here's why. I'm gonna explain this to everyone.
No.
Because we're not done yet.
I think that they all understand.
Because I don't think we're done here yet. And also,
no.
And also, we've got it. You just said it, that we have your consent to use everything that's been said so far. So I'm going to make an exception because you've given us that consent. But please, no names, no locations.
Wherever you want to put it.
No names, no locations, please.
If it helps somebody, it helps somebody. And right. Then they heard me say that, and they're like, "Oh, I'm from there.
That's why
I should be happier."
Yeah, well, I don't want to get into a habit where, I'm making an exception. I'm not changing the rules. We're still going to be ruthless about the names and locations. We have to be, otherwise it's going to be chaos.
I'm pretty happy that I get to bend the rules and be a part of that bending the rules stuff. 'Cause that's all I've ever done.
Yeah, the chat's lighting up. I can't.
Somebody said something, I wanted to be aggressively like, "Are you sure you're saying that correctly? Are you sure that you told this boundary correctly?"
I want to say to you that I sense you're trying to find some sense of purpose. And with what you've gone through and the way you've been treated for the contributions you've made, you might feel, I could understand if you felt disillusioned. I hear some of that in your voice, that you sound a little bit like,
oh yeah,
like, well, I did all that, and that look where that got me. I hear that in your voice. And
after 12 years of working there, I made $12.85 an hour. I mean, if that doesn't just punch you in the face,
right? Yeah.
Money was never the reason I was there. I also spent 8 years working with Special Olympics basketball, and I worked this team up, and I figured out exactly what I needed to do to make them successful. It sounds bad, but run more. I just had to make them run more. I had to give them stamina. And the next thing you know, we were up there and we got second place at states for Special Olympics. I mean,
there you
what
go.
A sport. It was actually beautiful.
Right.
Like, if anybody needs a lift up in the chat, if anybody ever needs a lift up in their entire fucking life, go to any Special Olympics sport. Just go watch the joy of like a 12-footer this guy made, and it will change your life. I did that for 8 years, and then after I quit, they won state championship the next year.
Wow.
And I had so many legendary moments within that realm. Like, I can only count one time that I ever got mad during my entire tenure of working with people with disabilities was when it was a rough county in some state, and they were known to be rough, and they kept our better Special Olympics team played first, right? And they're really rough and like elbowing people when they went to the ground. And then we played after they did, and they weren't calling the stuff. And then the same thing happened again. Could you imagine being some kind of entity that's not calling fouls in a Special Olympics basketball game? Yes, this happened. So one of my dudes got dropped, and an elbow came down afterwards. Like the guy fell with him and then dropped an elbow on his head. So obviously the other coaches were teaching him, hurt the other person. And I said, what the fuck are you doing? You gonna call any fouls? This is why this is fucking bullshit. That person's gonna get hurt. You need to shut the fuck up. Or not, you don't need to. You need to shut up or no. You need to be quiet or we're gonna kick you out. I said, I'm good, I'm gone. And then I walked outside and stepped in a gigantic puddle of water and saturated my shoe and sat in there until we left at the end of the day. There's so many different stories I have about all of that.
Right.
And
this sounds like a recurring
I guess
theme.
I did all that because I get to keep the memories, I suppose.
Right.
Right?
Right. You know, I'm thinking of that quote, that Gandhi quote, "We must be the change we wish to see in the world."
Oh, yes.
You know,
nice.
and you know, capitalism has some edges to it that can be frustrating, not least of which the experience you described where you're doing selfless work, not being paid very much, you're doing it for the philanthropy of it because you care, and you speak up because the organization is going to be bought out, it's going to be privatized, and you speak up your concerns, and they give you the axe. And, you know...
I was proud to have it, though.
Yeah,
I owned it.
I like your sense of humor. I like the levity you have with all of this. I like that you don't take it... a lot of people would go through something like that and feel really burned to a crisp.
It was so gross.
They would feel really... They would mourn for way too long. A lot of people would do that with that kind of treatment. And I hear the levity in your voice. I hear you seem like a really open-minded person, you know, and to you I would say,
ready. Bring it.
Yeah, I would say, look, like maybe there's something to say about starting your own nonprofit or something like that and running it the way you want.
Can't do it. So gross. The whole system's so gross. You hire people low cost, they do bad job, and then people get hurt. No, thank you.
Well, Gandhi would be disappointed to hear that response in light of that quote.
Oh, it's I want to live comfortably, and in that system, you're not going to. Like, you're making $120,000 a year, and you run this company, and then you have all these peons. They get spit on, or shit wiped on them, or scratched, or hurt for $9 an hour, or $12 an hour, whatever the new bottom's going to be. Like, they wanted to keep me on there and train people for $4 less on the hour after I had been there for 12 years.
What about some kind of reform? Sounds like we need some kind of. These are great issues that I'm not up on. I can't argue with any of that. You know, but maybe you could spearhead some kind of reform.
It's only getting worse. I mean, I'm trying to fight for the rights of people with. I'm going to say it out loud. I hate saying the word, for retards. I'm going to fight for retards. which is a cancel word, and I love to cancel that word, but to put it in layman's terms, like they're talking about aborting unborn babies versus
Let's not get ideological.
Someone with a disability.
Let's please refrain from
becomes
inflammatory words. And I know that I trust you don't mean it in a mean way because you're caring for these people. I get that. I fully get that. But let's try to not get ideological and try to avoid words that might inflame the chat.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm sorry about the comparison there. I was just talking about what's being put on the docket for the future of something's going to be voted on.
Right.
And people with mental disabilities were voted out a long time ago. And it was really sick to hear during my tenure of 12 years of working with them, all the different things they did to these people to figure out tolerance and grossness that couldn't be performed on a monkey or a mouse. So, okay, Julian, I'm not going to take up too much more of your time. And, well, maybe we will. Maybe we'll delve deeper into what feelings should I have about how I feel about what I have done with my life so far. Reading Rainbow. We need LeVar Burton. Come on, buddy. Reading Rainbow.
Yeah.
That was the question I had when I called initially was, I've done all this shit, right? My dad died when he was 36. I'm about to turn 40. What in the hell? I mean, that's crazy to me.
Yeah, you might feel a little lost.
My dad died when he was 36. I was 15. I'm like, what the hell? Like, really? That's young as hell. I mean, that's really young. Is it not?
Yeah, I'm hearing. So there's some mixed responses coming from the chat. I think the chat is curious what would make this helpful. I'm sensing, if I can share a bit more on that point, I'm sensing that you are calling for a reason. I'm sensing, I'm saying this to you.
I'm ready, buddy.
And I'm sensing that I'm sensing a bit of a mask. I'm wondering if that's on point and if there's a way. I mean, I say that because you're using humor to describe situations.
Oh, that's a deflection.
Yeah, and I'm wondering what this conversation would look like without that mask, and if that's something you think you can do here, so that we can actually make it a good call.
I thought it was pretty great so far myself.
No, I've enjoyed it, but I don't want you to hang up and be like, wow, we just kind of bantered for a while,
Okay. You want some teeth?
Some teeth.
One of the biggest things that affected me when I was younger is the fact that my sexuality was stolen from me from beautiful women. That is bizarre to me. Like, I understand, like, I have a confidence that they might be attracted to, but to sexually approach me? I mean, come on. Really? Kids? That's your thing? It's so much deeper than just even that. Like, it just continued throughout my life and being that I give. I'm a giver. And I found out when I was younger, now that I'm older, outliving my dad, that shit was taken. If you want to help with that little matter, I wasn't really, there was no end goal in calling. I just wanted to talk to you because your voice is soothing and you're enlightened, and it seems like you're in a good place and you can help spread the good place. I mean, really, isn't that all what we're trying to do, is just trying to spread the good place? Like, where's that? It's over here. Yeah, it's right around the corner. You got to go down Brooklyn and turn left on 11th. There's a good place. I mean, that's what we're all trying to do, I think.
Yeah.
Shit.
you've seemed to be living up to what you said earlier, that you've lived a lot of different lives, and there's a lot to your story. And I'm just being honest with you. I'm not trying to discourage you, because I want to keep I believe you're calling for a reason.
I'm ready.
I believe you're calling for a reason. But the chat is concerned about how much laughter there is around these things that you may admittedly, it's granted, you may not know how to feel about these things. I mean, if you did you just mention you were molested, or that you were sexually?
Multiple times by women that were attractive, and I wasn't ready for it. So yeah.
Right. And you lost your dad when he was 36, and you've outlived him, and you made a joke about outliving your dad, and it made me wonder, was that really a joke? Was that something that you maybe don't know how you feel about? Maybe that's confusing. Maybe it made me feel like maybe you're lacking a roadmap for what that looks like, because you've outlived your dad, and you're asking a lot of questions about what to expect in this next chapter of your life. And I want to be very clear. I'm glad you've called in, but I can't fix you. That's not why I don't do this, because I think I can fix people. I do this because I believe.
I didn't call in thinking that you could, buddy.
Great.
Fuck no, you ain't. You ain't no winning lottery ticket.
No, I'm not. But you called me enlightened earlier, and you claimed that I might be able to. You claimed I have my stuff together, or however you put it, and that I might be able to spread that. That's not why I do this. I do this because I believe.
No, I understand that totally. I think that what's awesome is you choose your words carefully.
Right.
Period. I may have not done the same on my end, but like I'm getting intense. I'm getting intense with Julian, the guy I don't know that I looked up to for a long time.
And it's tough because, in my videos, I'm so crazy, and some people call in and maybe think that they've got to, we try to keep things calm here, because a lot of people are calling in sharing really intense stuff, and we don't want anyone to feel like they can't talk about something. And that's why I'm encouraging you to maybe, I'm curious if we can put the humor on the shelf and finish talking about this stuff. I mean, you've mentioned a lot of things. I mean, you were molested, and you felt you had your sexuality taken from you.
Here's a story about molestation too, and this is where I stood up for myself. We had a babysitter that rolled in. I won't get into detail. She was attractive, but I was like fucking 9. I'm like, I don't know what attraction is. I'm still trying to figure out whether or not I'm gonna get beat up by my older brother. That didn't happen, because I'm quick, and he's a bitch. Anyways, I was told not to tell anybody. And I'm like, yeah, I won't. Parents got home. I told my dad. They kicked her the fuck out of their house, and she left a sock behind. And how crazy is that? Like, I had to watch my parents kick out my molester, and she left a sock there. I won't go into much more of that. We won't. Why dig deep into that when it happened so many times? But to dig deeper into the fact that my dad died when he was 36, I mourned like so deeply, and thought that I was turning 36 years old. I was like, oh, that's so fucked up. I'm turning 36. My dad died, and blah, blah, blah. Not to bring humor into it, sorry. Humor is a coping mechanism of mine. I remember you said earlier, don't bring humor into it. No, that's a coping mechanism. It's a part of my, and dark humor of going and watching Guar play, and then the band Ween, and so many different things that are grosser than I could be. I was 35 years old. I was like, oh shit, like I was a year off. I turned 35 and was mourning my dad's death at 36, a year early. What a great, I mean, when my dad died and I was sitting there on the front row, right? I didn't remember any of that. None of it. It's like my dad swooped in and was like, nope, ain't gonna remember that shit. That ain't worth carrying. And I carried it all the way to my 35th birthday thinking, yeah, I'm 36 years old. That is pretty bizarre now that I think about it. I mean, he wasn't exactly 36 years old when he died, but I mourned him on my 35th birthday that obviously wasn't his 36th.
Yeah, you've dealt with a lot of loss. And Taylor Laura from the chat is saying to you, I feel like people have taken advantage of them their entire life. I'm sensing that too. I'm sensing that people have neglected your worth. People have neglected your contributions. On top of that, you've lost a lot of things you had no control over, including your sexuality when you were a child, and your father when you must have been very young when you lost your dad at 36. When he was 36, he must have been very young. I mean, and
15.
Yeah, that's.
I was the only child to go live with him. The other siblings, my brother Jerry and
no names,
Aaron,
no names, no names, no names, no names,
dad.
no names, no names. I'm covering you up. I'm interrupting and covering you up because you're giving names. I know you've given us consent, but please, no names, no locations. Maybe your siblings don't want to be mentioned here, for example.
Oh no, those were both made up names. I'm not sure why you're thinking I did that again.
Okay,
we had
good.
a conversation once.
Please just no names. Just say my brother or my sister or something.
It was Booby Boppy and Snotty Body. These two people
my friend,
decided
my
to move with my mom.
My friend, I'm kind of standing up for the chat. I want to hear your story. I'm asking if you're making the chat uncomfortable. I'm being frank now, because they sense that there's too much joking going on. I know this is a place where we do comedy.
Oh, joking. Okay, my bad. It's the way I cope. I won't do it again.
Okay, I will toast you if you mention a name.
Concise, I can give it that.
If you mention a name or a location again, even if it's made up, I'm gonna toast you. But I would encourage you to call back, even if you do get toasted. Trusting that there won't be a need for that. I know we already have your consent.
Well,
but
I've been to France. I didn't have any French toast over there, but I've been there. So my two siblings decided to move to mom's house. And I found out last, and I was like, I'll go to dad's house. That was a big mistake, but it taught me, hey, don't drink gigantic bottles of 100 proof peppermint schnapps every day, and you won't die. Oh, no, and you won't die. So basically, I think what had happened to him was he had fallen face first off of the toilet in the bathroom and had a heart attack, is what I was told.
You know, I want to stop you because I want to avoid this turning into trauma dumping. I'm not accusing you of trauma dumping, but I am sensing that we keep trying to get back to the original train of thought, and it's interesting hearing. I want to know the context. I want to know why you're calling in, of course, and this is a place to share stories, of course. But I keep trying to get back to the main reason you called, which was like you're trying to find this motivation for this next chapter of your life, and I want to avoid getting caught up in stories.
Stepping too far into the past. Gotcha.
Yeah. And I feel like we've got some good
My
context.
bad, man.
No. I don't want an apology.
Earlier you had asked about a little bit of the past.
Yeah.
And
I did.
That's deep.
Yeah, I did.
And I ran into a hallway that has no mirrors and no end.
I completely understand. We do this for a limited time when we do these, and I want to make sure that we can actually get to the original thing. And so I want to hold off on the stories for a minute, because again, we can't get to your whole story, of course, in these limited streams we do with the time we have. But
you got a lot of it though.
Yeah, we got a lot of information. I mean, I've taken more notes on this call than any of the others.
I'm sorry.
No, not too much. I just want to make sure we can end this in a way that you can wake up tomorrow feeling better, and have some better, some small next steps that might send you on a better course. And this thing you keep hovering around of, societal angst, lack of direction, disillusionment, makes sense in the context of your story. You've lost a lot. You've not been treated very fairly for the contributions you've made. You've done a lot of philanthropic work, and I can only imagine how frustrating that must be, and how lost you might feel, since you lost your dad when you did, and you're now older than he ever lived to be. And I want to make sure we can help you find some kernel that you can wake up with tomorrow, that will inspire you in some way. There's been a lot of ideas in the chat I haven't gotten to because I've just been listening. And again, I can't fix you, and you already know that. But I want to say that I really think that quote of being the change you want to see in the world, that Gandhi quote, is a really relevant quote for you, with the things that you're describing. And I can't tell you what that looks like. I can't tell you what to do with that. But, I've mentioned some ideas of things that were relevant to your frustrations. Things like maybe you could spearhead some kind of reform to make sure that these nonprofits are, if they need more regulation, that they get the regulations they need.
Yeah, I thought about that. I thought about being on the upside of the regulation, but the government does that, so
right.
That's a way out, I guess.
But we can vote.
Yeah. Bring it to a vote.
Yeah,
what a beautiful world we live in.
I'm not claiming I know how all that stuff works, but I know that
Oh, no.
There is a way to make change happen, and sometimes it takes ruthless determination to see that change that we want to see in the world. And anything worth doing is going to be difficult. That's why, that's why a marathon is a marathon. That's why people climb Mount Everest. They don't do it because it's easy. And I trust that.
You want to hear a cool stat I learned today? A cool stat I learned today. Listen to Stuff You Should Know. Sorry to promote some kind of podcast, but the wind blows Lake Erie 15 foot higher on the western end, like a big blowing. Like you'll have level, and then 15 foot higher. Wind can control the level of water. So, in an attempt to kind of close this conversation out, which has been beautiful, Julian, thank you. I mean, really. I went off on some tangents. I got some shit off my chest. But the wind blows so hard sometimes up in Lake Erie that it will make the level of the water 15 foot higher than the other side. That moon is always going to pull. The sun is always going to shine. I just really want people to focus on being happy. However they want to fucking invest their time. And just make sure that it's a happy place. I'm getting there. I'm not far off. Like, financially, never been better. Happiness is never bought.
That's right.
I'm fucking close. I'm fucking close, buddy.
I'm wishing.
I'm glad that you're investing your time on this earth to talk to whatever people, including me. I'll call again.
I appreciate you calling.
I'm sure.
And I appreciated you sharing the way you shared. I hope that you wake up tomorrow feeling some sense of motivation to channel this experience into something that you can feel good about. It might look totally different than what you've done in the past. But there's a lot of ways you can take that. There's a lot of different directions you can channel that energy. And I would encourage you to see it that way. And instead of seeing it as a roadblock that you got shut down for speaking up at your last job, I would encourage you to channel that energy into something new, reinvent it, and run with it, and see where that gets you.
The biggest question, I think, now that I've come to the wall of conclusion, the wall of conclusion, featuring Julian and his caller. I think that it is, I think the number one question is, should I make it financially viable? Should I make it profitable? And that's the line that I always draw, because I do a lot of free shit. I've done a lot of free shit.
Well, we're a world that runs on money. We run on money. You can't not. You got to make.
Oh, we run on money. Gasoline. Nice.
Well, it's not that.
I really want to figure that out. A lot of people have told me, man, you do a lot of stuff for free, man. You should probably make some money. I'm like, it changes it.
Yeah.
But I think we just both realized I can take money and make it a future investment.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to hate money because it's so impersonal and so it's almost intangible. It's just,
I do hate money.
I get it. I totally get it. I've experienced that sensation as well. But the truth is that money is just a construct to make. It's a tool to make trading easier. I mean, it's a lot. The only reason we use money is because it's a lot easier to trade with money than it is for a king to put thousands of cows on a boat and send it across the Atlantic Ocean.
Do I want to be fake in, like, money?
I mean, money doesn't mean you have to be fake. There are a lot of fake rich people.
No, the thing that I'm trying to gather is fake. It has nothing to do with being fake. It's like.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, you might be dealing with some nihilism or some sense that things are pointless because it's all just money at the end of the day. But you can't focus on the money. The money we need a certain amount of money. But you mentioned that's not the issue. You mentioned you've never been in a better financial place. So, I would say that.
It doesn't mean, no. I'm sorry. I have to differentiate that statement between I will give you everything I have with time, but I will never give you my money. I'll donate my time. I'll never donate my money. St. Jude's, no money. You want me to come there and walk around with one of your patients? Yeah, but money, no. No. You're not getting this fake construct from me. You're getting time, which is a real construct.
Yeah, I get that distinction. It sounds like you're doing a lot with your time. I wouldn't feel bad about that. I mean, I'm not here to argue with you on ideologies. I think that we're talking about money because it seems like you're hung up on that. You asked, should it be about the money? And it's a good question. And I sense you're on a journey.
I'm always hung up on time.
Yeah.
I don't know how much I should give based on time. I don't know how much time I have. You personally don't know how much time you have, but it's just like, how much time should I give? Like, I'm not asking like a church financially. Like, I'm literally giving you time. This is better than money. It's better than money. Where should I go give that time?
I can't tell
the
you
money
that.
Time.
I can't tell you where to give your time.
Where do you give your time? You're giving your time to me right now. That's lovely. It's lovely that you gave your time to me tonight, and I am appreciative that you're giving me your time. Time is worth more than anything else ever made.
Yeah.
Like, where do you want to put it? Julian's like, yeah, I'm gonna call in and let's change somebody's life, possibly. And I'm like, I got a bunch of Nintendo games that I want to beat.
Yeah.
Like, where's the level?
My friend, we're going
I
off.
love it.
We're going off on some different tangents again. I'm not trying to be rude.
No. I love that there's a level.
Yeah, but I want to encourage you to call back after you've done some. Take some time to think about this call and revisit it. I feel like I've said all I can say at this point. I do want to get to another caller before we close, and I would love to have another conversation with you after you've revisited this and reflected a bit. And feel free to call again anytime. We'll do this again.
I will, and I'm happy to ask that the future should be what?
I appreciate you asking the question. Well, the caller hung up. Chat, I want to know, I want you to know, I believe that caller was calling for a reason. That was too dense for it to be a troll. Way too dense. I realized the caller was deflecting with humor. They acknowledged they were deflecting with humor. They were sharing about some really hard stuff, and they may not know how they feel about it, and they might not know that might be the first time they've ever processed it in that way. So I try to go slow with that kind of a call. I hope the caller knows they were welcome here, and I hope nobody was frustrated that I stayed on the phone, but that's what I do here. That's what we do here, is we listen. We had their consent after they shared some information about themselves. They gave us their consent in perpetuity. It was an exception. I'm not going to get into the habit of doing that, but there was just so much there. I was admittedly very conflicted about keeping the call going after certain information was shared, but again, we had that consent, and didn't seem like there was any danger in continuing it. So if the caller's still listening, I would say, again, like, I hope you take some time to meditate. I'd encourage you to meditate and take some time to reflect on the conversation, and don't be afraid to feel the feelings for what they are. I would encourage the caller to make an effort to deflect with humor less, and to learn to find comfort in being real about how you feel. It's not wrong to feel confused about. I mean, that's a lot it's perfectly understandable if you're confused about those experiences. Okay, I've said enough. Hope everybody understands. I think we have time for one more caller. It will be a short call, probably. We're going to be done in 10 minutes, guys, and I do have to run, so I'll take this next call, but it may end early. We'll deal with that if that happens. Hi, thanks for calling. Lost the caller. Hi, thanks for calling. Hello?
Hey.
Hi, thanks for calling. Yeah, I got you.
Hey, sorry. I thought it was on the voicemail again. Hey, I'm calling because I was wanting to ask, kind of get your opinion on my relationship with my brother.
Okay. I don't know if you heard my disclaimer at the beginning of this call, but I do have to end the stream in 10 minutes. So let's see if we can get through this. I'm going to open up the floor to you and let's see where we wind up in 10 minutes.
Okay, sure. So my brother is currently living in a large city in the U.S. He's homeless, and he spends a lot of his time online on Facebook, kind of sending his message out to the world, I guess you'd say. And he left probably I guess it was 5 years ago, and I really haven't talked to him much since then. I've went to visit him in this city a couple of times, and I just really feel like I haven't had a real conversation with him in a long time. He has this perceived way of seeing the world, and there's nothing that can change that. And he doesn't really want to talk about anything but himself and his perceptions of reality. And it feels like we used to have a really good relationship where we would talk, and we were really close. And then he kind of disowned our family, and just went off to do his own thing, and rejected everything that I see as being good for him.
Wow, I'm really sorry to hear that. Is there some logistical reason that your brother is homeless, or could it be something? Is he mentally well? What do you think it is?
I've thought a lot about that. I think my parents have kind of thought that there might be something wrong with him mentally. I think there probably is too. He tells us that he doesn't use any drugs, or he told us even one time that caffeine was too much of a stimulant for him. So I don't know, maybe there was drug use in his past, or something that flipped a switch or something. I'm not sure, but I think, to answer your question, I think that could be part of it for sure.
So what is it that you want? Actually, can I get your age? I forgot to ask you at the beginning.
Yeah, I'm 28.
Okay. So, and you've mentioned you've been estranged from your brother for 5 years. Is that what you said?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I guess I was in college, so I was probably 20. I guess it's been a while. It's been 8 years.
Wow. Yeah, of course, I don't know your brother. I don't know you. So it's hard for me to know that situation intimately like you do. But I've known people who've been homeless. I've had family members who've been homeless. And I've known people and had family members who've had drug problems. And I know that sometimes people aren't honest about if they're using drugs. So I sensed some confusion from you on whether or not he was being honest about that. So I'm acknowledging that, like, maybe he's not. It's also, I'm not saying he is being dishonest, but yeah, I'm saying it's a valid suspicion you have based on the evidence. And I can't weigh in on those details, of course, because I don't know you guys. But I'm really, really sorry to hear that. I can't imagine what that's like. I've never had a brother that has chosen that lifestyle, or it sounds like your brother's got some fantastical ideas about the world. Is that it? Like, you mentioned he only wants to talk about his worldview. Is there some kind of thing he's subscribed to that you're concerned about, or is he just talking nonsense, or what's the deal?
I think that it probably is delusions of grandeur. He sees himself as an enlightened being, like an oracle to the city that he's living in. And it's a major city in the U.S., and he finds his entire identity in being, living in this city and being connected to people of power in his mind. I don't know. His connections to people are very strained, and one example I think is a really good example is that he was in Twitter DMs with Yoko Ono, but when I looked at, he sent me all the screenshots of the conversation he had, and I searched the exact name of this Yoko Ono account, and it turns out it was just a spam account that was trying to get money from him, and he perceived it as being real. So that was a huge red flag to me that there's something not right in his mind.
Right. There may not be. It might be. It sounds like that's possible, that he might not be mentally well.
Yeah.
My friend, I'm so
sorry. If I may
sorry.
ask this, I guess I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying I'm sorry. I'm sorry, not you're sorry. Go on.
I guess my question for you is, how should I interact with him? Should I reach out to him? Should I put up with the pain of him not being the brother that I remember, and just bear through it with him and suffer along with him, so to speak? Or should I just continue to do what I've been doing, which is kind of avoid the situation, not reach out to him, and keep in mind that he doesn't really want to talk on the phone, or he only wants to talk in messages where he can calculate everything he's saying, and it feels really difficult to speak with him in that way. I'm not as much of a keyboard warrior as he is.
I see.
And I don't mean that in a rude way. He just
right.
He feels more comfortable behind a keyboard, I think.
I see. Are you familiar with the medium chill relationship style as opposed to going no contact?
I have not. No, I don't know what that is.
Medium chill is a great way to maintain a relationship with someone who might be mentally unwell in any number of ways. If the relationship is not healthy, or they're trying to hurt you or manipulate you or something like that, medium chill is a great first response before giving up on the relationship. Basically, you can Google that, medium chill relationship style.
Okay,
Google medium chill versus no contact. I'll give you a quick bullet point on it. We are kind of running out of time here, but I think this will be a good rabbit hole for you. Basically, it's exactly what it sounds like. You just keep everything kind of surface level, and you try to have a relationship on the basis of anything that is actually healthy or productive in the relationship. And sometimes, you know, when I've tried this, and I've done this a bunch, and it's, I've also gone no contact with some people. You know, so it doesn't always work. In other words, medium chill isn't always an option, but I think it's better than coming right out of the gate with no contact. It's better to at least try medium chill, because sometimes you can have a perfectly fine relationship with someone who's not mentally well, on some very simple terms, with some very simple boundaries. And you can just, and it requires like a kind of a restrained emotional presence where you're not investing too much personally into the relationship, but you're there. You're physically there, and you're showing up, but you're not going to go to certain places. Certain topics might be off limits, for example, things like this. And there's a clear boundary around what the relationship is. Not that you have to be like overt, like get off my lawn, Clint Eastwood or something, you know, but like, you know, you're kind of redefine the relationship, and that's what medium chill is. So I would say, sounds like maybe a great opportunity to try that with your brother. If he's hiding behind a keyboard and doesn't want to see you face to face or talk in person or on the phone, it might be hard to be medium chill, but you can still do it even if it's over text. Actually, maybe it's easier over text, but I wouldn't call that a real relationship. So in some ways you might be kind of limited by what your brother's capable of.
Yeah.
And you might do you might do some fishing with your brother to see what he can actually give to the relationship. And then make some decisions based on that.
I appreciate that. I will definitely take this advice. Thank you.
Well, I hope I've sent you on a good rabbit hole. I trust that I have. It seems relevant, and I wouldn't call it advice, but you know, if it ends up
guidance, what do you call it?
I don't know what this is. I would say if you take the advice, then the credit goes to whoever came up with medium chill, and it certainly wasn't me. But it's something that's worked for me, and yeah. So I hope that does something for your relationship. I'd love to hear an update from you at some point. So feel free to call back anytime.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Julian.
Thanks for calling. Good night.
Good night.
All right, chat. Beautiful night. Man, we got to 8 callers. 2 of them were toasted. That's pretty intense. 8 callers in 2 hours. Guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. I always love doing these. We do these 3 times a week on Sundays, Tuesdays, Thursdays at 9 p.m. Central. That's 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. We also do some prank streams here. I release some other things randomly as well. I'm looking to get on a better schedule with some different live streams. Besides, this anonymous live stream is the most common one here. But I know you guys want some comedy, and I'm trying to slowly. You guys got to keep in mind, I'm in a transitional state right now where I'm reestablishing, rebooting. That's the word I'm looking for. I'm rebooting this channel, so it's going to take me some time to get into a good routine, a good schedule. But this show is on a schedule. The prank calls are usually on Wednesdays. We will do some prank calls tomorrow, so don't miss that prank stream at 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. We'll do that tomorrow. We're going to prank your friends. So if you want to set up your friend for a prank, you can go to one of our prank streams. I don't have the link here handy, but you can go to our prank stream, any of our prank videos here on this channel, and click the link in the video description to submit your friend for a prank. Thank you guys for supporting these callers. Thank you to all the callers who called in and used this place. And also a massive shout out to our wonderful mods. Tonight we had Easy Cheesy, Offcore, and I'm scrolling in a tiny window because I'm testing a new comment setup, a new chat setup above my camera. And the window is tiny. I'm doing it on a field monitor. So I might have to rethink this. Who else was here from the mods? I think that might be it. This is hilarious. I wish you guys could see what I'm looking at. This was a great idea in theory, and it did help me keep my eyes up instead of down, but this is tiny, and I'm struggling to see if there's any more mods. I'm sorry if I've left out any of the mods. But you guys are all awesome. Always look forward to these streams, and I'll see you guys right here tomorrow at 3 p.m. Central Time. And we'll be back here doing Anonymous Live on Thursday. So we got more coming this week. I'll see you guys soon. Good night, everyone.